Hey, good morning, everybody. The food forest in the morning is really a special time to be outside in the forest, especially just after a rain. There's something about being outside in the forest after a rain, you know, inhaling in all the plant oils and everything like that that's in the air. It's just so natural and wonderful. So, what's going on right now in the food forest is we've got peaches setting all their fruit. So we're gonna have to come through and thin quite a bit of this. You kind of just want to have enough fruit for the tree to be able to produce what it needs without putting on too much extra weight. We get peach leaf curl here, and it's just something that we deal with. We don't spray any insecticides or copper-based fungicides or anything like that. So, we've tried that a few years, but the peach leaf curl can actually stay dormant in the tree, in the bark all winter long. So you'll just have to do it every single year, and that's just not a practice we're getting into. So essentially what happens if you don't spray for it is the tree will lose most of its leaves at some point, and then it'll recover. So I'll show you, this is a tree that there is some peach leaf curl, but it's not too bad. I'll compare that to another tree where we sprayed before. This is one we don't spray anymore, and I'll show you the difference. And then right below it, we've got haskaps that are starting to come out and starting to ripen up, so we can already start eating some berries very shortly. Okay, let's go look at the other tree where we did spray for the peach leaf curl, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so here's the other tree, and you'll probably notice it's actually much worse. So this is one that we sprayed last year, and then this year every single leaf has got it. So this tree is going to lose every single one of its leaves to peach leaf curl. And this is the tree that we actually sprayed. Yeah, so this is kind of the cycle that you get into when you spray things. As you become addicted to it, you have to do it all the time because the trees need it. I just find that a natural approach tends to be better. It's not perfect. Sometimes you just deal with systemic issues, but that's what happens in general, I've found over the last 8 years. We've got a nice cherry tree here, so this is sweet cherry. One of the things you'll notice we do is all the tree tags, we move it to a branch. That way, as the tree grows, you're not girdling the actual trunk of the tree. You just want to make sure that there's lots of space there. Yeah, so we've got cherries coming in, we've got haskaps coming in right now. We've got a whole bunch of other plants and berries that are starting to ripen their fruit. Here's a cherry that's a little further behind. This one will come in and bear fruit quite a bit later. This is a sour cherry. Sour cherries do fantastic up here in the cold climate. Really, really nice tree. So you can see the grapes as shade and the kiwi as shade is really, really nice way to shade out the chicken coop and then provide a nice set of food. You can see all the kiwis that we're getting this year. So this whole entire top roof is a mix of kiwi, and this is a cold hardy kiwi. So tons of fruit coming this year, and anything that we miss will roll down off the roof because we don't have any rain gutters or anything. Roll down off the roof and fall right into the chicken run. The chickens are in this inside run, but we let them out and use this netting here to expand their run. So I'll pull that over, then they can get in and they can forage comfrey. They have the safety underneath all of these trees, this peach tree. We've got autumn olive there. We've got a maple, and then on the back side we've got some Carpathian walnuts and raspberries. So they can just exist in this lush green forest, and then they can forage off of all the different fruits and berries that are everywhere. Look at these. these kiwi are going to produce an absolute ton of food this year. So this is one really nice thing about having a diverse set of crops. We have probably about 30-40 different berries and fruit that we grow on the property. And this is one really nice thing about it, is some years you'll have an off year in one, and some years you're going to just pump out more food than you can possibly eat in another. I do have to be a little careful with this walnut. These kiwi are just absolutely swallowing it. So this is what happens if you do the whole 7-layer food forest, but your trees aren't mature enough yet. You know, even a large tree like this walnut is being asked to hold up a massive kiwi infestation. So you can see the fertility that's in this chicken run, and the kiwi and the walnut is just absolutely going bonkers, existing and living in that lush, vibrant atmosphere. And then all the other plants are really hitting a nice 20-30 foot canopy, which is great for protecting our girls from predators. We have a lot of aerial predators around here. The rest of the property kind of goes down into our lower area. That's our permaculture zone 5 down in there. After you get through a bit of a walking distance, there's a stream that borders our property down in there. My original plan was to plant all of that out, but after getting into permaculture and seeing the value of wildlife and having a wilderness area, we've decided to essentially leave that area as a wild zone 5. And I have more than I can ever deal with growing food on this, about ½ acre to 1 acre, the rest of my land here. Got some wild sorrel, you know, growing up. So a lot of this is a little bit overgrown with grass because I haven't had the time to come in and trim some of this stuff. But there's so many plants growing in this area that will just kind of like voluntarily self-resow and self-seed again. This is persimmon and another persimmon right there to act as the overstory in this area. And then I'll cut down some of these things like box elders that volunteer in the area in time. Not yet, but in time, when they start to interfere with the shade. For now, I'm fine with this box elder pushing out roots into the ground and then ending its life at the right time to allow this persimmon to grow. And that way the root system for the box elder will be there under the ground, aerating the soil, and act as essentially under the ground fertility sticks for feeding into this persimmon. I might have to come back and cut it a few times before the tree dies, but then afterwards all those roots become food for the soil, food web of life, and pathways for oxygen and air and water for this tree here. So I do allow some trees to exist and grow in wild ways, and then I'll feed them both above ground when I chop it and drop it or turn it into biochar or wood chips, but then also below ground the root systems will feed the trees that I actually want to bring in to fertility later on. And then this is essentially, you know, that line of thinking, that's essentially what forest management should look like in general. A more mature and a more nuanced and long-term vision of a food forest and a tree's general plant health in your system. Not just a tree by tree thought, but a system, overall system thought. So thanks for taking this little walk with me. Just kind of seeing what it's like to exist in a permaculture food forest design where you can walk out to your backyard and harvest mint or oregano, pop over, grab some kiwi that's growing up beside of your house, being careful that this doesn't get into soffits or rip down any house foundations, grabbing ostrich ferns for fiddleheads early in the spring, and then allowing a beautiful plant to grow, haskell's right beside it, living in there. We can eat all this. So everything around here that you see as medicine or food, and it is so much better having something like this than just a grass lawn that does nothing for you. And then also it's very low maintenance. I've done almost nothing with this year, and it just continues to push out and pump out food for me. And I think it looks beautiful. I think it looks much more beautiful, and it's really wonderful to walk outside and have bees all over the comfrey flowers. You know, they got some lupin in the back there popping up. And just to know that you're planting things that support the rest of nature, the serviceberry, for example. And then you can just walk out and harvest all these things. And then you have this plethora of delayed harvests, like the pears coming in 3, 4, or 5 months from now. So it's a really nice way to landscape your property, and nature definitely thanks you for it. But don't forget to plant things only for nature, such as oaks, that sort of thing. Oaks support something like 150 different insects in my area. So we always make sure that we plant tons and tons of trees for not just apples for us, but then also, look at that little hummingbird. Also plants for nature. Just absolutely gorgeous. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and make sure that you're planting not just for humans, but for everyone else too. Bye.